October 16th, 2025, Kasarani Stadium, Nairobi. Thousands of people showed up at the massive stadium to pay their respects to a man who'd just died. The public viewing had been moved here from Parliament after overwhelming crowds. It was supposed to be peaceful. Instead, things went completely sideways. Security forces fire tear gas and gunshots into the air. People are running, screaming. In the chaos, at least 2 people are killed, several others injured. And through all of it, you can hear them chanting, "Baba, Baba, Baba," meaning Father. The whole Kenya just stopped. Businesses closed, streets packed with mourners. Some were crying, some were angry. And if you're watching this from outside Kenya, like me, you're probably confused. Who was this man? Well, his name was Raila Odinga. Here's the twist. He was never president. He ran 5 times, lost every single one. So, why is Kenya treating his death like they just lost their founding father? Because Raila Odinga wasn't your regular politician. He was a movement, a symbol. He was tortured by his own government, spent years rotting in prison cells, had to literally escape Kenya dressed as a Catholic priest to survive, lost elections everyone knows he actually won, and then turned around and shook hands with the same people who tried to destroy him. He was called a hero by millions and a sellout by others. His story is complicated and messy. If you want to understand Kenya today, you need to understand this man. Raila Odinga never held the highest office, but somehow he shaped the country more than the men who did. Let me show you how. January 7th, 1945, Western Kenya. Raila Amolo Odinga was born into politics the way some people are born into royalty. His father was Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, Kenya's first vice president, a hero when Kenya broke free from British rule in 1963. Here's where it gets interesting. Jaramogi and Kenya's first president, Jomo Kenyatta, were allies during the fight against British colonial rule, brothers in the struggle. Then they had a falling out. Kenyatta wanted capitalism and Western support. Jaramogi wanted socialism, share the wealth. And there was something else. In Kenyan politics, tribe matters. Kenyatta was Kikuyu, Kenya's biggest ethnic group. Jaramogi was Luo, much smaller. What started as an ideological split became an ethnic rivalry that would define Kenyan politics for decades. A rivalry that would continue into the next generation between their sons. In 1966, Kenyatta kicked Jaramogi out of government. The Odingas became enemies overnight. Young Raila watched his father, the vice president, become the enemy. That changes you. His mother, Mary Juma, was a devout Anglican teacher who tried to balance the chaos with faith and stability. In 1962, at 17, he got a scholarship to Communist East Germany. Spent 8 years there studying mechanical engineering at the Technical University of Magdeburg. In 1970, Raila came back to Kenya, taught at the University of Nairobi, worked at the Kenya Bureau of Standards, rose to deputy director, could have stayed quiet, built a safe life. But by 1982, Daniel Arap Moi had been president for 4 years, and Moi amended the constitution, Section 2A. He made Kenya a one-party state, no opposition allowed. Speak against the government, you disappear. Moi's regime was brutal, torture, detention without trial. People vanish in the middle of the night. Kenya had traded British colonialism for African dictatorship. And Raila, like his father before him, couldn't stay quiet. And that decision almost killed him. August 1st, 1982, 3 a.m., a group of Kenya Air Force soldiers tried to overthrow President Moi's government. The coup failed. Hundreds died. Moi needed someone to blame. They came for Raila. August 11th, 1982. Raila was at a friend's house when police came for him and arrested him. The charge? Treason. Punishment. Death. What followed was hell. They took him to a police station. Officers, many of them drunk, beat him for days. They wanted a confession to planning the coup. He refused. He could hear screams from other cells, other people being tortured. Then they threw him in Committee Maximum Security Prison, alone. No trial, no lawyer, no family visits. His wife, Ida, was left with young children and no idea if she'd ever see her husband again. She found a way to smuggle letters, written on toilet paper, into the prison. When guards caught her, they came for her too, but she never broke. She held everything together, raised those kids alone, stood by him through everything that would come. Raila's youngest son, Fidel, named after Fidel Castro, was only 2 years old when they took his father. He was 9 when he finally got to meet him properly. His daughter Winnie, named after Winnie Mandela, would barely remember her father's face. These names were declarations, revolutionary names for a revolutionary's children. While his kids grew up without him, Raila spent 6 years in detention without a trial, just sitting in a cell. Then, in February 1988, President Moi suddenly released him. Big public ceremony. It looked like forgiveness. It wasn't. 6 months later, they arrested him again. You see, Raila never gave up. He kept organizing. In 1990, he planned a massive pro-democracy rally at Kamukunji for July 7th. Saba Saba, 7-7 in Swahili. Thousands were ready to march against Moi's dictatorship. Moi declared it illegal. The night before the rally, police arrested Raila and the other organizers, Kenneth Matiba and Charles Rubia, back to detention again. But here's what Moi didn't understand. You can't arrest an idea. The rally happened anyway. People came. They demanded change. By 1991, Raila knew the truth. They were going to kill him eventually. So, he ran. The Catholic Church helped him escape. They dressed him as a priest. They drove him through checkpoints. Nobody stops a priest. Since Kenya wasn't safe, he needed to get to Uganda. They got him to Lake Victoria. At night, fishermen were waiting with a small boat. This was dangerous. If caught, everyone dies. These fishermen risked everything. They paddled for hours in the dark with heavy rain, using only the moon and stars to navigate. Eventually, they crossed into Ugandan waters, landed around 3 a.m., got fake papers with a new name, Joseph. They set off again by boat. Eventually made it to Kampala, Uganda. From there, Raila had to disappear again. The Kenyan government was now looking for him in Uganda too. So they changed his identity again. This time, he became a Ugandan Muslim named Allah, heading to Mecca on pilgrimage. Put him on a plane to Norway. This was a James Bond level escape. Multiple identities, fishermen, priest, fake document. One mistake, and he's dead. From Norway, 4,000 miles away, Raila kept fighting. He was registered with the UN as a refugee. He opened a forum for the Restoration of Democracy office in Oslo when Kenyan opposition leaders couldn't speak internationally. Raila did it for them. BBC Voice of America. He became the voice of Kenya's democracy movement. And back in Kenya, the pressure kept building. Pro-democracy rallies kept happening. People wouldn't stop demanding change. And the international attention Raila helped create, it worked. In 1991, President Moi gave in. Kenya could have opposition parties again. Democracy was back. Raila came home a hero. 9 years of his life, torture, exile, separation from his family. But he won. In 1992, Raila won a seat in parliament, but he wanted more. He wanted to be president. 1997, Raila ran for president the very first time on the National Development Party ticket. His main opponent, Daniel Arap Moi, the same man who'd tortured him. the same man he'd had to escape from dressed as a priest. He came third, behind Presidents Moi and Mwai Kibaki. Moi won again. Then he shocked everyone. He joined Moi's government. Raila merged his party with Moi's and became Minister of Energy. People called it betrayal. Raila said he was learning how power works from the inside. He was pragmatic, unpredictable. They called him Agwambo, the mysterious one in Luo. You never knew what Raila would do next. Fight you, then work with you, then fight you again. But in 2002, things changed. Moi tried to handpick Uhuru Kenyatta as his successor, Jomo Kenyatta's son. The rivalry between the Kenyatta and Odinga families was about to continue into the next generation. Raila walked out. He helped build a coalition, the National Rainbow Coalition, and backed Mwai Kibaki for president instead. Kibaki won big. It was finally the end of Moi's party's 40-year rule. Raila expected to be rewarded, prime minister maybe, or at least a top position. He got neither. Kibaki's inner circle locked him out, gave him Minister of Roads. Raila had delivered the presidency to Kibaki, and Kibaki betrayed him. By 2007, Raila Odinga was done playing nice. He built his own party, the Orange Democratic Movement. In October 2007, his campaign launched. 50,000 people showed up. The polls showed him winning ahead of President Kibaki. December 27th, Election Day. Early results came in. Raila was ahead. His party declared victory. Then overnight, the numbers flipped. Suddenly, Kibaki was winning by huge margins that made no sense. December 30th, late at night, behind closed doors, the Electoral Commission declared Kibaki the winner by 230,000 votes. Days later, even the chairman of the Electoral Commission admitted, "I don't know who won." Kenya exploded. What happened next was the worst violence the country had seen since independence. Protesting would have been better, but this time, people were killing each other based on tribe. On New Year's Day, a village called Kiamba, attackers locked dozens of people, over 30 women and children, inside a church and burned them alive. Those who escaped were hacked with machetes outside. The violence spread everywhere. Machetes, guns, fire, neighbors turning on neighbors based on tribe. By the time it ended, more than 1,300 people were dead. Over 600,000 were displaced from their homes. Kenya came within inches of civil war. A former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan flew in to help. After weeks of tense negotiations, he got them to sign a deal. February 28, 2008, Kibaki and Raila signed a power-sharing agreement. Kenya would have two centers of power. Kibaki stayed president, Raila became prime minister. It was an uneasy marriage, but it stopped the killing. And from this fragile coalition came something huge, the 2010 Constitution. This was the prize Raila had been fighting for since the 1980s. You see, before this, the president controlled everything. All the money, all the power, everything ran through Nairobi. The new constitution changed that. Power and money split between the national government and 47 local governments across Kenya. So people in far areas didn't have to beg Nairobi for everything. For example, Dash, one county called Marsabit. The national government drilled 20 water wells there in 50 years. The local government drilled 20 wells in 1 year. That's what the Constitution did. Brought services closer to people. It also gave courts more power, protected people's interest, put limits to what presidents could do. On August 4th, 2010, Kenyans voted. 67% said yes, one of the most progressive constitutions in Africa. It was Raila's greatest achievement, but Raila still wasn't president. So he tried again the third time. When the coalition ended in 2013, Raila ran again. His opponent, Uhuru Kenyatta, Jomo Kenyatta's son. Think about this. Raila's father and Uhuru's father were enemies. Now their sons are facing off. The rivalry continues to the next generation. Uhuru won. Raila challenged in court. The Supreme Court upheld the result. Raila accepted defeat and called for peace. 2017, Raila ran again, lost again to Uhuru, but this time Raila took it to court with evidence of rigging. And Kenya's Supreme Court did something that had never happened in Africa before. They cancelled a presidential election, ordered a fresh vote. Chief Justice David Maraga declared the election invalid, null and void, citing irregularities by the Electoral Commission. Raila stood outside the court and said, "For the first time in the history of African democratization, a ruling has been made by a court nullifying the election of a president. This indeed is a very historic day for the people of Kenya, and by extension, the people of the continent of Africa." The judges had to know they were painting targets on their backs. Kenyatta's response? "I respect it. This was a watershed moment for African democracy. It proved courts could stand up to presidents." When the new election came, Raila said they hadn't fixed the problems. He refused to participate. Uhuru won by default. January 30th, 2018, Raila swore himself in as the people's president. He held an actual swearing-in ceremony. Thousands attended. TV stations were shut down by the government. People died in protests supporting him. Kenya was on the edge again. Protests, police shooting people. The country is splitting. Then something nobody saw coming. March 9th, 2018. Just 6 weeks after declaring himself the people's president, Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga walked out in front of cameras and shook hands. The night before, they had locked themselves in a room for 19 hours. Talk it out, brought in lawyers to write up a deal. We choose Kenya over politics. They called it the Building Bridges Initiative. The goal is to try to fix the winner-takes-all system that kept tearing Kenya apart. Electoral reforms, power sharing, ethnic reconciliation. For Raila's supporters, this felt like a slap. He just declared himself the people's president. People died protesting for him. Now he's shaking hands with Uhuru. Think about this. Remember, Uhuru's father and Raila's father were enemies. Raila backed Uhuru in 2002, ran against him in 2013 and 2017. Now they're allies. The sons of rivals, now brothers. Some said he sold out. Raila said someone had to stop Kenya from burning. The initiative tried to change the constitution. Courts killed it in 2021. The Building Bridges Initiative was dead. Now, in 2022, Raila ran for president one last time. He was 77 years old. This time, his opponent was William Ruto, Uhuru's former deputy, now his rival. And Uhuru endorsed Raila. The two sons of rivals, now allies against Ruto. Election day, William Ruto, 50.49%. Raila Odinga, 48.85%. Another close loss. Raila challenged it in court. Again, the Supreme Court upheld the result. Raila has now lost 5 presidential elections. But the story wasn't over. In 2024, Kenya exploded again. Gen Z protest. Young people in the streets demanding Ruto step down over taxes and corruption. Hundreds were killed by police. The country was burning. They wanted a new kind of politics. No more old guard. No more tribal deals. They wanted change. And once again, Kenya turned to Raila Odinga. March 2025, Raila did another handshake. This time with President Ruto. Raila's party joined Ruto's government. His people got cabinet positions. In return, Ruto supported Raila for African Union chairman. This was supposed to be Raila's golden parachute, a dignified exit from Kenyan politics. February 2025, Raila lost the AU bid. Defeated by Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, he had nothing left. By now, even his loyal supporters were done. The fighter had become the fixer. The revolutionary leader had become the deal maker. Gen Z felt betrayed. The man who fought dictators was now making deal with the people shooting protesters. Was he selling out? Or was he the only thing holding Kenya together? Well, depends on who you ask. Early October 2025, Raila suffered a minor stroke. He'd been dealing with health issues for years. In 2010, he had surgery to relieve pressure on his brain. He decided to go to India. He'd been going there for over a decade. October 15th, 2025, early morning in Kochi, India at around 6:45 a.m. Raila went for his routine walk at the Sri Ariyam Ayurvedic Hospital grounds. His daughter Winnie was with him, his sister, a personal doctor. At 7:15 a.m., he clutched his chest and collapsed. They rushed him to Devamata Hospital. CPR, everything they could do. Nothing worked. Around 7:30 a.m. East African time, Raila Odinga was pronounced dead. Cardiac arrest, age 80. The news hit Kenya really hard. Within hours, his home in Karen was surrounded by thousands. Many were in tears, some were angry, demanding to know why they hadn't been told he was sick. His wife Ida had insisted he was fine just days before. He's just resting, she had said. President Ruto declared 7 days of national mourning. Flags at half-mast, a state funeral. October 16th, his body arrived back in Kenya on a Kenya Airways flight. That's when things got chaotic. The plan was a public viewing at Kasarani Stadium. Tens of thousands showed up. When mourners breached the presidential pavilion, police fired tear gas and gunshots into the air. Stampede, panic. At least 2 people died. Even in death, you couldn't contain what Raila Odinga meant to people. On October 17th, 2025, a state funeral at Nyayo Stadium, military honors, tributes, tears. On October 19th, 2025, he was buried at his family's home in Bondo, next to his father, Jaramogi. What did Raila Odinga leave behind? He never became president. That's the obvious answer. But here's what he really did. He helped end one-party dictatorship in Kenya. Multi-party democracy exists because he wouldn't quit fighting. He spent 9 years in detention. He could have given up. He didn't. He championed the 2010 constitution that gave counties power and limited presidents. That's still shaping Kenya today. In 2017, he got a presidential election cancelled. First time in African history. Proves court could stand up to presidents, but his legacy is complicated. The handshakes with Uhuru and Ruto. Half the country thinks he saved Kenya from chaos. The other half thinks he sold out. 5 presidential losses, but each loss pushed Kenya forward. 2007's violence led to the 2010 constitution. He lost every battle but won the war for Kenya's democracy. He crossed tribal lines his whole career, worked with everyone. His father defended Kenyatta even though Kenyatta was from a different tribe. Raila backed Kibaki in 2002, Uhuru in 2018. His message was always, think Kenya first, tribe second. Raila Odinga almost lost everything, except his belief that Kenya could be better. And maybe that's the point. Sometimes the people who don't win are the ones who change everything.